Hey guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. We are headed back out on the water today. We've got beautiful conditions. The plan is to go out and do some finesse fishing. Try and catch a pile of these late summer, early fall transitional fish. Let's go. The bite's been pretty tough here lately. And just the other day, we were talking about how the bait fish this time of year, especially in the shallows, are often really small, little juvenile bait fish. That's the exact conditions I've run into today. I saw a few bass chasing little tiny bait fish. So I sat down and I've rigged up 7 bait finesse rods. Now you could do this with spinning gear as well if you prefer, but today I'm fishing bait finesse. I've got everything, they're all downsized profiles, everything from a karashi to a topwater to an underspin to a jerkbait, you name it. We're downsizing our presentations to see if we can get these fish fired up in an otherwise tough bite, and hopefully we catch a bunch of them. Got him. Oh, lost him. Look at them chasing right here. They're chasing. Got him. This first one's on a megabass karashi. I had 2 in a row bite it and not hook up, and that's what set that boil off. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but 7 or 8 fish all came up together. That karashi is choked. See if I can get another one quick. So this time of year, these fish, they can be in a super negative mood. They're just sort of lazy. But when bait fish come around, they can get triggered and they can get active. That's what we saw right there. Those 2 fish took a shot at the karashi back to back. I loaded up, lost him. Another one ate it, loaded up, lost him. And then all of a sudden, a whole group fired up. They were there the whole time, I just didn't know it. They came up to the surface and I immediately got that one. If you can trigger these fish, you can get them feeding, you can catch a lot of fish, but oftentimes it takes that smaller profile to get things started. Oh, got him. Oh, that's a tiny one. One thing I love about bait finesse is that big ones, little ones, they all pull. You get the appropriate size gear, and even these guys are fun. Oh, it's a little spotted bass. Hello, friend. Got a face full of karashi, didn't you? Got him. That was such a cool blow up. Again, it's a smaller fish, but that doesn't matter when the equipment is right. I'm using a Shimano Corrado. It's a 6/8 light. That's on that little Dog X Kawaii. Another little spotted bass. Now, I didn't come out here today thinking I was gonna catch an 8-pounder with all tiny little baits on. Now, I might, and if I do, I will be pumped. But this time of year, the fishing can be super tough. And just catching fish is good enough, regardless of size. And for a lot of people, you know, not everyone is blessed to live in a place where fishing is just epic and it's full of giants. A lot of people live on pretty tough fisheries. We know that. This style of fishing, I mean, it shines right now when the bait fish are small, but you can do this any time of year. And if you live in a place where you just don't have a ton of giants, smaller fish are the norm. You don't have to worry about that. You just go out and throw those downsized profiles and you throw them on downsized gear, and you'll have as much fun as the guys catching 5-pounders and the guys catching 7- and 8-pounders. You'll still have a ball. It doesn't matter, because again, you can't just magically get on an amazing lake. If you live in a place where there tend to be small fish, embrace that, downsize the gear, and have a ball. Let's catch some more. Got him. A little better fish. Hey, buddy. Another one on the top water. Man, that's fun. Golly, what a hard bite. That was incredible. That's what it's all about right there. Did you hear how loud that explosion was? Boom. That's what I'm talking about right there. I don't care where you live or what size fish you prefer to catch. During a tough time of year, a bass that size on light gear, totally worth it. That's as good as it gets. It's just, I mean, it took drag on the hook set. I hit it, loaded up, and then it took drag. How are you gonna beat that? Oh, missed him. There's one. Just twitching that karashi. You'll notice all the baits that I'm catching them on are fast moving baits. I'm staying fairly high in the water column and I'm getting these fish to attack it. Now you can do this in a variety of environments. Probably the most common place to find this pattern is on flats in the backs of creek arms or long coves. So all the way to the back, you look for where it tapers up at the end, and a lot of times there'll be fish chasing bait fish in those locations, and that will go on and it will get more substantial as we head into fall. That pattern will get better. Oh, got him. Believe it or not, the pattern gets better. Now this is actually a small one, spotted bass again. But that's the #1 place for it. But you can do it out on the main body of the lake, out on points. Where we are right now is a steep, deep wall, which is probably the hardest place to do it. But it just happens to be where I ran into these fish today. Another one on that karashi. The reason why I say it's harder there, so they'll be pushing bait fish into creek arms. And on these steeper banks, they'll run the bait right down those arms. Ultimately, you know, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now to corral it all the way to the back. But when they're on walls like this, they're driving the bait, so they're not staying in place. So if you find them on a main lake point, that's home, and every time the bait comes around, they attack it. If you find them in the back of a creek, they've got bait corralled. They're not going anywhere. When they're on a wall like this, they're traveling, they're pushing that bait. But even so, a bite like this is too much fun. Whoa, that's a big one. Look, right in front of me. Got him. I got one of the smaller ones, but there was a big one in that group. Oh, that big one keeps attacking my fish. Oh, that was awesome. He tried to get a piece of that. That right there, that's the Duo Realis Heartbee, the bait I've been talking a lot about since it came out a month or two ago. A very unique take on a spy bait with a curly tail and a blade in the chin. It catches them. Even bluegill can't turn down that karashi. I'm taking a little midday break here. The nighttime temperatures might be trickling down, but the daytime highs are still hot. It's cooking today, so I found myself a little piece of shade to curl up in for a second, eat a sandwich, take a break. I thought I would take a minute and, since I'm sitting here anyway, show you guys the exact baits and the gear that I'm using. I tied on 7 baits. I haven't changed any of them, so I'm going to show you just in no particular order. I'll just start at one end and work across the exact gear that I'm throwing and sort of the why behind each one of them. The first one, that Mega Bass, that Dog X Kawaii, that little walking bait. I think that color's called Bahama Milk, but in the video description, I'll link the exact baits, the colors, all that stuff for you so you don't have to guess. But a little walking bait, I mean, that speaks for itself, right? If bass are going to be chasing at all, I mean, they were totally chill when I found them. I saw one bass blow up, and that clued me in that there were fish around. It wasn't until I started pitching that karashi that fish came to the surface and started chasing. Now I've seen that 3 or 4 times. But if you can get them up, get them active, or early morning, you can catch them on that topwater, and that is working beautifully for us right now. I have that on the Corrado 6'8" light, so 6'8" light action, which is a total do-it-all rod. It can throw treble hooks, it can throw little jig hooks. Of course, that's the Corrado BFS. I'm throwing that one with some really light Suffix braid on it. Next up, again, these are in no particular order. I'm just showing you what I have on the deck. This guy, that Duo Realis Heartbee, is such a cool bait. So it's got this blade in the chin, water goes through the mouth, hits the blade, spins the blade, and then you've got this curly tail that's back there churning. It's in the spin bait family, so like a spy bait, but obviously it's a very different profile. They eat this thing. I have been doing really well with it lately. I've got that paired up from Abu Garcia in the Zenin line, so their high-end line. This is the 7'1" medium light moderate, which is perfect for treble hook baits. And then I've got their Zenin BFS on there as well, that LTX BFS. That's a high-end combo. 7-pound Daiwa hidden fluorocarbon, that green line that I'm always talking about. What do we have next? Let's see what comes around. I can't even see. Ah, the karashi. The Mega Bass karashi, the one bait finesse bait. If you're going to try bait finesse, you want to try catching fish, try this style, see what it's all about. That's the #1 bait that I tell people to try because it really highlights all of the fun that you can have with this style of fishing. I've got that, of course, on a Cashin Icon 7-foot light. That's my favorite rod for throwing that bait. And again, Corrado BFS, 7-pound Daiwa fluoro. Again, Such a killer combo, such a fun way to catch them. And by the way, we are not done. I am just taking a break. We're gonna go back to fishing here in just a minute. I just needed to get in the shade for a minute. All right, next up, that little tiny bait finesse griffin. This is the MR, the medium runner, the deeper runner. We haven't caught him on that yet today, but it is a fish catcher. I was thinking I might put the shallow runner on because the way they keep coming to the surface, but I haven't made that change yet. This on the Megabass Kasumi 611, which is a rod that I just picked up and I want to spend a little bit more time with. I'm curious about it for a Karashi as well, a higher end Karashi combo. That's what I picked it up to play with, but today I've got this guy on it, paired up with a Cast King Kestrel. This one's got 6-pound Sunline Super FC fluorocarbon on it. 6-pound, just letting me get a little more depth out of the crankbait. Oh, this is a fun one. I haven't even made a cast with it yet today, but I love this bait. From Shimano, this is the BT bait. The reason why I haven't made a cast yet is it's just a little bit bigger than all the others. And I've got to say, I knew that if I could run into bass chasing bait, they'd be chasing little bait. But I'm telling you, the bait I'm seeing them chase right now is not little bait, it's little bait. Micro bait. So even this was too big for him today. But if I can find them chasing a little bit bigger bait, I love this thing. Comes in a floater and a slow sink. You fish it fast. Just burn that thing. Burn, pause, burn, pause. That thing shoots across the surface, leaves a big V-wake. Or this is the slow sink. It runs just below the surface. Such a fun bait. I've got that on that Cashin. This is a Tackle Warehouse exclusive rod. In that Icon line again, in their BF series, their Bait Finesse series, this is the 6.8 Ultralight. Crazy light action rod. It's so much fun. That one I've got the Daiwa Tatula, the BF TW70 on there. So that's one of Daiwa's Bait Finesse reels. This one of the Shading X. I can't even tell you which one it is because they're so tiny. The Megabass Shading X, the 62. It's the medium size in the Shading X. Just a super aggressive little jerkbait. I've not made a cast with this one yet today either, though I will. I still had a long tag line on there. Super fun bait. I've got that on the Megabass Pop X stick, one of my favorite Bait Finesse rods. And then that's paired up to a Shimano Aldebaran BFS. And then what do we have? What's the last one over there? And again, I'll link all this stuff in the video description. I'll give you the exact colors I'm throwing, some favorite colors, all that sort of stuff. I don't know that I'll have room to link all the gear, but I'll definitely link all the baits and probably the gear that caught the most fish today. Last but not least, from Dirty Jigs and from us, Tactical Bassin, we built the Tactical Mini Underspin. A little downsize profile. This is a 2.75 swammer on there. It's perfect for fishing on this stuff. This is the X-Pride 6.8 light. Probably the best bang for the buck all around Bait Finesse rod that somebody could get. If you want one rod to do it all, that's an amazing mid-priced rod that feels like a high-end rod. And then again, Curado BFS, really light braid to a really light leader. Throw in that underspin. That's the gear that I came out here with, and I have made no changes. It's working. Again, this time of year, now you can go out and you can throw other things, right? We've talked a lot about throwing jigs, swim baits, things like that, trying to target big fish. But if you are doing those things and it's not working for you, this is a really fun alternative to just go out and have a great time. You can still catch big fish doing this, but you are not targeting big fish specifically, right? You're targeting anything that wants to bite, from a bluegill to a little spotted bass to a nice largemouth. We're just gonna catch it all. That's what this is about. Just totally different approach, and it's super fun. All right, I think I've had enough shade. I'm working my way through a gallon of water. It's hot today, but I'm having a good time. Let's get back out there. Another one on the Karashi. Oh, that's a good time. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. As that sun has gotten higher and started baking, the bait fish seem to have disappeared. I'm sure they dropped out and went a little bit deeper, and the bass seem to have gone with them. But I had a ball with you guys there for a few hours this morning. You know, it was, today, like I said in the beginning, was not about catching a big one. It was just about getting bit under tough conditions. And I think that resonates with a lot of people. You know, a lot of people are on fisheries where you have good days, you have bad days, but a lot of guys are on fisheries where it's tough a lot of the time. And hopefully you guys remember that you can do this the next time you run into those tougher conditions. And not only will you have more fun, right? When you do hook them, you get to battle them, it's way more fun, but you can also get bit in a lot more situations. You're not targeting giants, you're targeting whatever's going to bite. Sometimes multi-species, right? But it's just a really fun way to fish, and it's something I really enjoy doing during a time of year where it can be tough to go out and get a lot of bites. Again, I'll link everything in the video description. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.